Hey guys, so this is it. This is what I've been waiting to show you, and this is what you guys have been waiting to see. And this here is my ultimate Ableton master template. And hopefully you notice that it looks deceptively simple and light. That is the way I want it to look. I want this thing to look as unintimidating as possible. I've seen a lot of people make a lot of tools and everything, and they just look too complicated to really be workable. I want this to be incredibly deep, and at the same time I want everything to be really simple to access, simple to understand, and just easy on the mind. You know, when you're in a creative zone, you only want to see the things that you need. So that's what I've set this up. What we've got here is we've got several categories that I've gone through. And rest assured that this template is going to continue to grow, and it's going to continue to expand with everyone's ideas taken into mind. So this is your template, and this is version 1 of the template. Now the first thing I'll let you know is that this full template is a bit CPU heavy. So my recommendation to you is to use 4 gigabytes of RAM or more to run this optimally. But there are other ways that we can simplify this for you. So if you've got a slower computer, things will be up and running, and you'll still get a smooth experience and still have all the options. You'll just need to do a couple tweaks in order to make it work effectively for you. So let's get into what we can do in this template and what this template has in it. The goal is that you're not going to have much use for reaching outside of this template. It's not that I want you trapped into anything at all. What I want is to give you access to so much possibility inside this that you rarely need to reach outside, so that you can just continue with your mode of creating without having to stop. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with the drum section here. So the kick rack is a very simple to use instrument, but pretty effective for getting a lot of different tones for a kick. Whatever key you hit, let's go ahead and click here. And you're probably going to want to use headphones, otherwise it's not really going to sound thumpy to you. Without headphones, if I take off some of the pitch envelope, it'll probably sound better to you through computer speakers. So what we've got here is we've got the frequency, so I can... the decay, how long it's going to play. And if we add the sustain and release, if you want something snappier, you just turn down the sustain and release. So that gives you a lot of possibility right there. Then I've also got the pitch envelope, so you can go from no pitch envelope so that gives you a lot of bite in the sound. The drive is just a little bit of distortion. And then I've also got a click for more of the top end. So let me turn this all the way up so you can hear. And I'll turn the pitch envelope down so you just hear this click. And then I could choose the frequency of the click. And when I find the frequency, I can then adjust the level to where I want it. Turn the pitch envelope back up. Cool. And then the attack, we can have a slow attack, so it just gives more of a woomph instead of a kick, you know, like a click sound. And then this top kind of gives a different tone altogether with the attack. So there's a whole lot of choices with this kick rack, and I think that it's easy enough to use for anyone to just be able to get nice sounding kicks right away. So that's the first tool in the drums. The second tool here is the electronic drum kits. So for example, here's the kicks. Now if you want to see what sample is being used, you want to make sure to hit this auto button here. That way, as you choose between the sounds, you'll know exactly where you're at. And that way, if you go over here to edit the sound further, it's right on the correct sound. So there's a lot of choices there. Snares. Like I said, you could actually go to an individual sound that's not on this macro here. Okay, so high tom. We've got a few different high toms. Let me find the sound. There we go. So each of these sounds, at least most of them, have several different choices, so that you can build your own kits. What's kind of cool about this also is that you can create a basic drum part, and then you could kind of go through the sounds and figure out what sounds best. So for example, let me just drop in a little clip here. Great. I think what I'll do, just to make it sound a little cooler, is give it a little bit of random, so it kind of gives it a little swing. And set it to 8th note triplet and move it a little in that direction. Cool. And now I can go in and change the sounds. Cool. There we go. I've just kind of figured out my sounds right there. So that's basically the way this is meant to be used, to make drum creation really, really simple. Of course, the crashes are just a lot of different crashes. And then, of course, you've got some great little choices here. So if I go into crashes, there's a nice one right there. So I've got my reverb decay, I've got my reverb amount, no reverb, lots of reverb, short decay, long decay, and we can transpose it. and we've got some decay time. You could pan it into whatever stereo field you want, and then this here will make the sample more stereo, or sit in the middle. And that's for every crash on here. So that gives you tons of choices. And the same goes here for the synth crashes, only you've got some different options and things like that, but you still have reverbs and decays and different things like that. So we got quite a bit of reverb there. We could turn the reverb off. Add some resonation. Reverb. Fun stuff. So we've got our little drum loop here. So let me pull in a little bit of loop action here. Go ahead and try this here. Cool. And there we go. We already got something that's kind of workable. I could go in and edit the sound. So, like I said, very, very fast when it comes to arranging and creating rhythms and just getting things started. So that's the basis of the drum parts. And like I said, this will expand in many ways, but obviously my goal is to keep things very simple as well. I don't want to get overly convoluted with anything that's happening here. The next section is going to be the bass, and we've got several different bass options here. Actually, it looks like we're missing one little tool here, so alright, so let's just drag this over. Cool. So the bass consists of a sampler instrument that gives you loads of choices. I basically tried to get you some very cool bass sounds that you could tweak and get as many options as possible within this simple instrument. It goes in pretty deep. Each sound is sampled across 2 octaves, every single note, for accuracy. And I wanted to do this with bass because bass is so important. And then I stretched the bass parts down an octave and up an octave. So, you know, those are going to have a little less fidelity, but they will also have a certain type of tone and grittiness that might be really pleasing. So sometimes that lo-fi can work as well. So you kind of get the choice there. So these are set up like a chain. And let me give you some of the different tones here. And once again, some of these bass sounds are a little deeper, so you might need to put some headphones on to kind of get into them. And we're once again going to hit the auto so you can see what's being selected here. So you've got a lot of choices to choose from. I got 20 basses in here. And each month as a member, you're going to get additional presets for the bass sounds. So let's play with this sound here. Got pitch envelope, I can turn that on. FM synthesis on the sound, I can tweak that. Kind of creeps up because I created an FM attack, or I can back that off and make it immediate. LFO. Everyone loves some LFO. So you can make it subtle, or you can, go full on. So that gives you all kinds of choices for the bass. And then of course, you can always add your own effects and things like that. Got a nice little analog bass here. This has decay. Sustain. Lower sustain gives you a little bit more of a click. Then we got filter attack, so we can set our filter. Filter sustain. Unison. This will give you kind of an in and out of tune kind of thing. Click. Everyone loves a little click. And a little vibe. And here is a bass I created that I like to call the Filthstep bass. And it's got kind of all those grimy sounds that you might want. It's just a really cool tool for those just squelchy bass sounds. So that's in there. And then of course everyone needs a little bit of wobble. So I created one especially for you. And so forth. I'm sure you can make much cooler stuff if you spent some time with it. It's got a built-in arpeggiator that you could tweak with, as well as, some lo-fi. Gives it that kind of vocal type of filter sound. You got your LFO rate. You could decide, what that rate is synced to, and a gate for the arpeggiator, etc. So that should be one you could have a lot of fun with. So that's our bass section. We'll go ahead and move on to the next section, which is going to be your sub. All different forms of low bass. Some real depth in these. And once again, these were sampled the same way, every note across 2 octaves. And this is another reason why it's a little bit CPU heavy. So you want to be careful with this. If you're having trouble, with CPU or whatever, what you could do is find the sound that you like and then just delete all the other ones in the tool. But it shouldn't be too heavy. And then of course we got the pitch envelope, so I could turn the pitch envelope on. So there's your sampled sub. So this is just subs for the operator. So there you go. Sub bass isn't necessarily meant to have too much going on except just a very solid low end. So there's another tool for that. And then the 808 sub, which is basically just an 808 kick sound run into this instrument. Giving a very nice techno bass type of tone. And of course, if you want, you can tweak the sound or whatever. Simple, but incredibly effective. The next thing we'll get into is some of the pad sounds. And we have several pads. You have complete control over the attack and release times. Reverb, long reverb, decays, or very little. Phaser. Which is just a subtle effect, but can be effective for kind of that stereo movement. And those are the sampler pads. So you've got 18 different pad sounds to choose from here. I've also got several that were made from the operator instrument. So let's get into some of the sounds. And once again, you got attack over the attack time, how slow it comes in, the release time, the reverb decay, reverb wet dry, the frequency filter, pitch LFO. And then, of course, glide time is very nice too. So there are your operator pads. I'm really proud of this one. This is something that I kind of came up with, and I think that it's going to be really useful for a lot of people. I mean, it's definitely going to be useful for me. And once again, I'll continue to add to it to make it even more useful. And of course, I invite members to play around with it and submit some of their own creations as well. But the chopped pads work over here, and basically what happens, I'll turn the gate off real quick. So this is like a normal sounding pad. One of several. I mean, it's the same sounds here as the operator pads, only these get chopped up with different patterns. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So if I play one of these patterns, I'll try another pattern. So all these obviously are different patterns that kind of chop the pad up into, different riffs and things like that, which is really great. And what I did was I made two different tracks. One of them is just strictly the click part. So you could turn this up or down. So it just clicks on the rhythm to give it a little more of sharpness. But if you don't want that, you could always pull that out. So if I'm playing this, that's with no click at all, and I could turn it all the way up. Like so. Now the stabs, I haven't really done much with the sampler. I did sample one stab here. Which probably doesn't sound incredibly impressive. But there's a lot of different choices that you've got as far as attack, decay, sustain, release, filter. And I'll definitely be adding to this, but here's the real kicker. I've created several different effects chains. So, for example, I can turn on effects chain 1, which is this one right here. If I open this up, just this one chain gets much more complex. It's kind of a chains within chains type of deal with different type of variables. And every single effects chain has its own complexities to it. So as I turn on different effects chains, you're going to get different results. And so forth. And you could actually turn on more than one effects chain if that works for you. You know, you just don't want to get too carried away. But that's what this effects chain is for. And it's got the same effects set up here on the operator stabs, which you may find even more interesting. Not too impressive till you add And let me just go through some of the sounds here. So there's a lot to that. And that was just running through a couple different chains. So you could switch the chains and it creates a different sound. And like I said, each chain you could go in and tweak any of the parameters that you like to customize the sound. And now we'll get into the lead sounds. Lots of great sounds here. I don't have my controller keyboard with a bend, pitch bend and all that type of stuff, but it really makes for better sounding leads. But I'm just using my QWERTY keyboard here to demonstrate some of the sounds. And I've also added a click layer, which you can see here. Drag in our rack here. And of course, this has FM, glide, and filter. Simple to use, simple to choose, and a lot of great sounds. And once again, this comes with 20 sounds, and each month I will be giving an extra pack of sounds, so you'll continue to get more sounds to use. And here's the leads created from the operator instrument. So lots of lead sounds there. And this here is just clicks. So you would just add another layer of your MIDI. So whatever this is playing, you would just copy the MIDI part. And this gives you a lot of different clicky choices. And some are going from high to low as far as the filter, and the others are going low to high. So you get a lot of click choices there as well. Next is the filter sweep rack. I think you'll find a lot of use for this. So you've got the filter frequency, you've got the res, which gives that nice sizzle. Or less sizzle. You could set the LFO rate. You got your reverb and delay wet. Obviously both those are on. You've got chorus and flange. So here's let's turn all these off, and we've just got the reverb now. Or dry. Delay. Chorus. And flange. Everyone needs a good filter sweep rack, and this should get the job done for you. Okay, so the next thing that we go into is the reverse effects. And what I've done is I've set up a bunch of different reverse audio clips that will play. Here, let me turn this off just so we don't get confused. That will play reverse sound, and then I've built effects racks that will enhance those sounds. So here's without any effects. All right, and then we could I'll just go through some of the different effects chains. I'll turn that off. Cool. And we'll do this one. So there you go. Simple reverse effects, where you need them, when you need them, that you could just get moving in your track. You could always replace them if you want to do something different, or you can create your own reverse loops to use with the effects or whatever. Whatever you'd like to do, this is a tool to just make it that much easier. The next tool is In Key, which is another tool that I created for my Ableton followers, people that follow me on my blog. I created something that allows you to write randomly and have a tool that puts it into key, or write something and then try it in different keys to see if there's an alternative to what you play that sounds better or more inspiring to you. So what we would do is you could either come over here and play into, or you could write a clip in. Let's go ahead and just write a random clip. I'm not trying to do anything special or fancy. Just randomly popping something in. So this is before we correct the key. Let's go ahead and drop a simple delay on it, just to make things a little bit more interesting. And I'll just set it to there. Okay, so here's our sound with no correction. Now this here gives us all the different keys, and also this conforms to a mixed in key. If you've got your songs that you're trying to match to or something in mixed in key, well, this will conform to those keys. So let's take this part and make it work in the different keys. We'll just play it through and you can hear how it will conform to different keys. I'll go ahead and make another random one just to show that this pretty much works in any case. So as you can see, you can take a part that's either already played in key or just completely random, and then you can conform it to different keys. So if you're starting an idea, you've got a basic idea in your head, or you got no idea and you're looking for inspiration, you could just simply pop an idea in here or something random, choose between all the different keys, and see if anything pops out at you as sounding interesting. And then you can work from there. So that this can really help inspire ideas. Or if you've already got a song in a certain key, you could add random ideas by going, well, I know that it's F major, and with this tool you could actually see, okay, if it's an F major, I know that not only will the part work with an F major, but it'll also work with a C major, a B flat major, and 7A, which would be a D minor. So that gives you just a lot of tools to play with, especially if you're not like a trained musician. This will make that aspect much easier for you so that you nail it every time and you're not hitting wrong notes that you're not noticing and things like that. So that's what the always in key instrument is created for, and I hope that you get a ton out of that one. And I've added in a sidechain track. And basically the sidechain is being sidechained by the drums. So that's already set up with the drums, this kick rack and also the electronic drum kit. And it only takes from the lower frequencies. So it's only going to react to the kick drum on the electronic kit. And obviously it'll react to this whole thing. So anything that you want to be sidechained, I could just go ahead and send audio to the sidechain track, and then that will create a sidechain effect for any instrument that I want just by sending it there. And then of course the sidechain track will send it to the master. So the next tool is going to be utilities, and I've got one utility tool so far, and I think that this is going to be a lot more powerful than you think it would be. So let me show you what this is. I call this the reverb tester. We've got an operator instrument playing noise, and then we've got a reverb afterwards. And right here we've got just an audio clip that plays the noise at every bar or something like that. What's special about white noise and reverb is white noise is the best way to be able to hear exactly what all these parameters are doing and exactly how they're affecting a sound. So what you can do is come over here and create the type of reverb sound that you're looking for, copy it, and then paste it in to an instrument. And you basically know exactly what kind of sound you're getting. So let me kind of show you. I could go into the room size and really hear the difference in sizes. Delay time, obviously. And now reflections. Let me kind of here, that's kind of like a whooshing in. And this is more immediate. Diffuse. You hear that kind of after sound. Whereas this is not too much diffusion beforehand. obviously stereo, mono, pre-delay, pre-delay, shape, density. Let's get turn off the chorus here. Hear that little stutter there. Smoother. Density. So as you can see, this tool can really help you set up your reverb sounds exactly how you want. So basically, if you want to hear only reverb, set it to 100% wet. But if you want to hear how it works with that, especially like for pre-delay, then set it to 50-50, or set it to less to actually hear exactly how it's affecting the sound. So that is my tool that will make all your reverbs, whatever you're using, more effective in your songs. Finally, there are also plenty of return tracks. So for example, I could just start with dub delay, which creates kind of a nice feedback that mimics the old delays. I'll just play a drum sound here. Cool. And what I'm going to do is show my sends. Here we go. We'll turn this on. So there you go. That was just from a couple simple drum sounds, and you could just imagine how much fun stuff you can do with the different parameters here. So that should be a definite fun one for you, and it's just going to help create these really great ambiances that normally take so much work. This just kind of spits those out. It gives you exactly the type of thing that you want, and it's just got that grittiness and random and chaos, and that's really great to have in your tunes. I'll just use some drum sounds to go through some of the other sends. To save CPU, I've turned these off, so you'll want to come in and turn them on the ones that you're actually using in your song. Okay, so long reverb, kind of a medium reverb, short reverb, That's like a 3/16 delay. Quarter note delay. That's just some dirt. That's a saturator. And then a compressor. Probably subtle on something like this, but definitely can make a difference on certain sounds. You know, it's basically a parallel compressor. So those are all your sends and returns. So as you can see, this thing can get pretty complex if you let it. But I like to make sure that everything still at the end of the day looks nice and simple. So this is the master template. This is a first version, and this is something that I hope that you guys are able to put a ton of use into. So enjoy this as members, and your feedback is going to be very valuable in this process as it continues to grow. So definitely give me some feedback and let me know what you think, and enjoy yourselves.